Coming up on Sports Paws, baseball takes on MAAC over the weekend.
And softball has a 3-game homestand against Mount St. Mary's.
And men's and women's tennis looks to stay undefeated.
And of course, Brandon, who wouldn't want to spend 30 minutes with us? Sports Paws starts right now.
Welcome into Studio 125 for another episode of Sports Paws. I'm Brandon Murdoch, and alongside me is Connor Corey.
Yeah, pleasure to be here, Brandon. There was news happening all around Bobcat Nation, so let's not waste any more time and kick it off with softball. We're going to start on Friday at home against the MAAC Warriors for a doubleheader here in Hamden. A pretty uneventful first inning, Brandon, so we're going to the second. Yeah,
Kevin Brady sends one out to left field. You see it right there, rocket off the bat, getting it past Sean McCulloch. And as it hits the wall, McCulloch gets it back in leisurely getting into second base as Brady starting off the hitting for the Warriors.
Just a few plays later, there's going to be a full count in a opposite bunt, and Brady's going to slide into home just barely under Jack Bryan. 1-0 Warriors after 2.
Now into the fourth. Once again, bases are loaded, and Johnny Knox hits it to third, but Knox beats it out with the hustle to throw, beats the throw out, and Bobcat first run of the day, 1-1 after 4.
Into the sixth, Andrew Rubio comes in for relief, and Nick Balcom, after having a rough inning, giving up 3 runs, including this single right here from Brady to give MAAC a 4-2 lead at the end of 6. Just a single right there.
Yeah, in the 7th inning now, CJ Willis lines one into the left field corner. That's going to tie the game as both McCulloch and Garbowski both come around the score. Willis nearly goes by second base, but look at his reaction. Super hype to tie it up.
Just a few batters later, Johnny Knox in the 7th hits a rocket all the way to the corner of that left wall. Brandon, that left wall is being used a lot here in Game 1. It's going to be 6-4 Bobcats, a 2-run RBI double from Knox, similar to Willis getting at second. You see all that passion right there.
Now let's not leave Jack Bryan out of it as he gets in on the fun, getting a hit there to extend the Bobcats lead to 7-4.
Now, MAAC not going down without a fight in the 8th. Kevin Brady up once again. He set that ball long over the left wall. No torpedo bat needed on this one. Bobcats get the 7-5 win.
But it wouldn't be as enough as Gabe Wright makes a game-winning catch on the warning track as Ryan Hutchinson earns his 2nd save of the season.
Yeah, we see it there. A double 3-run RBI and a stolen base from Johnny Knox, but we're going to go straight in to Game 2, Brandon.
Yeah, a lot of action there, as you saw in Game 1, but the Bobcats look to snag their 5th straight conference win after defeating the MAAC Warriors 7-5 earlier on Friday.
Yeah, heading into the first after a Mike Poncini pitch right here. Christian Smith going to shoot it all the way down to second. Johnny Knox there with the tag. Stolen base, no counted. Bobcats Stevie at 0.
In the bottom half of the inning, CJ Willis ties things up with a single to right field. Gets runners on the corners. Sean McCulloch gets into third base. Runners on the corners early for the Cats.
This is going to give Alex Irizarry a single opportunity. Had a single in the exact same spot, and deja vu scores McCulloch and Willis after a crafty move at the plate. Willis able to get his hand on home plate. Bobcats up 2-0.
We saw some offense out here in the second. We're going to see some pitching. Mike Poncini, pitching masterclass, racking up another strikeout to end the second. Still 2-0 Bobcats.
Similar in the third, Poncini continuing his dominance with 3 more strikeouts to add to his counter. MAAC still can't figure out this Poncini kid at the mound.
Yeah, this curveball you're about to see right here, absolutely nasty third strikeout of the inning.
Throwing gas.
Yeah, now top of the 4th though, unfortunately for Poncini, 4th inning here, he falls victim to the West Haven native Christian Scanlon as he hits a 3-run shot over the right field wall, 4-2 Warriors.
In a tight few innings, it's going to be 4-4 in the bottom of the 11th. Irizarry's going to go right up the middle. It's going to be a play at the plate. Johnny Knox on the ground, and that's the game. A walk-off from Irizarry in the 11th.
Yeah, seeing the celebration there, him jumping into the arms of CJ Willis.
The Bobcats narrowly escape this one and get their 5th straight conference win as they gear up for their Game 3 on Sunday at 1 p.m.
Yeah, the Bobcats will look to be back in action. Well, that was a dramatic finish, Connor.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the words for it. Now, Q30's Spencer Decker had the story of Irizarry's heroic moment.
Maryland transfer and Tallinn, Connecticut native Alex Irizarry may have got the biggest moment of his career as he walked it off against the MAAC Warriors with a single up the middle on Friday.
With Sam Amatrato sitting at second, Alex Irizarry's single up the middle would score him for the game-winning run. But it didn't come without a little nervousness from Irizarry.
I was trying to go right up the gut with it. I mean, a lot of weird shifts today, a lot of weird wind, a lot of weird plays, but, just low, hard middle right through the pitcher's legs was really the only thing you could do because he was really throwing that fastball well up in the zone, getting a lot of people to pop up. So just really trying to stay on top of it and just shoot up the middle there.
Head coach John Delaney was proud of Irizarry's performance in the batter's box, but believed that this game could have been over in the 10th inning and barring some Bobcat miscues.
It was huge. I mean, it was one of those things where, the inning before, that was the inning we were supposed to win it. And we talked a lot about, in our offensive meeting there of what the setup's going to be, what they might do, and that will determine what we do. We misread that. Shawnee, we were going to have Shawnee swing once they went infield in, and Shawnee decided to put the bunt down. It's one of those things where everything just went wrong, and it wasn't what we were supposed to do. So that, the biggest thing out of that is, that could have just deflated us. And then obviously, Griff did a great job to kind of shut that down, and we had the meat of the order up there. So, it was huge to try to break through. I don't think we were going to be able to finish that game after that, which then changes a lot of stuff. It gives the break, and anything could happen once you're back to a new day. So, big start by Sebi there to get us on the board and get us in scoring position there, and Rose came up with a big swing.
Alex Irizarry was certainly pleased to have one of his biggest hits in his career come in front of Bobcat Nation.
This is one of the cooler ones I've had. Definitely, doing it at home is awesome. Doing it in front of the home crowd, I think, especially because we played a long 2 games. A lot of people staying for the last of it was really awesome to see here.
Now Irizarry will step back into the batter's box on Sunday as the Bobcats try to get back-to-back sweeps in MAAC play against the Merrimack Warriors. Reporting for Q30 Sports, Spencer Decker.
Now, Connor, the series wasn't over as the Bobcats hosted Game 3 on Sunday.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And after sweeping Niagara last weekend, Quinnipiac had a golden chance to get its second consecutive weekend sweep. We're going to start on Sunday, like we mentioned, looking for a sweep for the second weekend series of the year and the second consecutive in just as many.
Starting things off in the 3rd inning with the Bobcats down 1-0, Sebastian Muller up the bat with the bases loaded. He lines one in the left field off the wall, and it goes, and it's 2 runners score. Muller barrels in the second base, a little bit double, giving Quinnipiac its first lead of the game, 2-1.
We're going to go into the next half of the inning. Top of the 4th, 2 runners on for Merrimack. Now it's going to be crushed to deep left field. Bye-bye baseball. And you know who that was, may I ask?
Who was?
His name was Bond. Hayden Bond. Merrimack goes up 4-2 in the 5th.
Now continuing this train through to the 5th, Johnny knocks up the bat in the same scenario as Bond was, and he also will make no mistake as the Bobcats are able to retake the lead 5-4. Johnny Knox once again coming up clutch for the Bobcats. Big celebration right there.
Yeah, clearly very much fired up. We're going to go into the 6th now. Bobcats up by 3. Christian Smith up at bat with Irizarry at second, and Smith cranks the ball deep into the outfield. Irizarry will easily score on the Bobcats. Throw this one wide open, but guess what? There's even more for the Bobcats.
Yeah, into the 8th inning now. CJ Willis will push the ball all the way into the right field corner as it gets stuck down there, and Willis has 1, 2, and 3 bases to score Sean McCulloch and make it 8-4 Quinnipiac.
Willis has got some wheels into the 9th. Ryan Hutchison shuts the door with the save on the day. The Bobcats get the 8-4 win and the celebration between the two boys right there.
The second save in as many days for Hutchison there, coming up clutch in the late innings for the Bobcats. As we saw here, Rubio gets the win and Nichols gets the loss, and a great day at the plate for Johnny Knox with a 3-run shot and another hit to boot. Now, switching diamonds, the softball team was up at Canisius on Tuesday for a midweek doubleheader. The Bobcats lost first game 6-4 after blowing a 3-0 lead. Natalia Apatiga hit a major career milestone, getting her 100th career hit on a home run to left field. They were then met with some uniqueness in Game 2.
Yeah, Brandon, I think that's the best way to describe the game, uniqueness. Game 2 did go 9 innings, but the game was halted to 3-3 because of its field schedule. The Bobcats came back from 3 on a 1-run deficit to force extra innings. Riley Potter and Kenny DeMott had solo home runs, and the other runs was scored from Mary Fogg's single. Now we're going to change to show you why the game stopped. The softball field joined with the lacrosse field at the Canisius women's lacrosse game against Fairfield is expected to start at 4 o'clock. This game will be resumed on April 28th in Hammond. Now, just looking at that field right there, Brandon, it's just absolutely chaos. That wouldn't be able to continue to play. A little bit of a scheduling issue right there, obviously.
Definitely.
Now, after the sudden stop, the softball team is back playing less than 72 hours later at home in the MAAC. Now, they're going to be going up against the Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers in Hammond, like we said before the game. Quinnipiac's handshake line. Starting up during the starting lineups, no score. We're going to head to the top of the 3rd. We're going straight into the 3rd inning. Kelsey Bandolo hits a single up the middle into center field and score. Gio DiGerno from second to put the Mountaineers up the board early, 1-0, Mount St. Mary's. We're still staying in the 3rd. Tristan Corner hits a high fly ball but just misses the glove of Aaron Bombry for a double, which scores Bandolo. The score is now 2-0 in favor of the Mount. Into the 5th. DeMott hits the high fly ball out of the park for her 3rd home run of the season to put the Bobcats finally on the board. 2-1, still Mount St. Mary's in favor. We're going to head to the bottom of the 7th now. DeMott continues to stay alive as she singles to left field, which scores Noelle Reed for the second now tie game at 2. Heading into the 9th, extra innings, it's all down to this. Emma Tawney fakes a bunt, but Emily Felice decides she wants to steal the bag, but gets caught as Natalia Apatiga lays down the tag just in time. Bottom of the 9th, DeMott plays hero in this one with the opportunity to double into left field, which scores the game-winning run. Quinnipiac with a 3-2 win over the Mountaineers on Friday.
You can see how much that meant to them right there. The team pouring out of the dugout to celebrate at the mound.
Yeah, tons of celebration at the softball field now. Brandon, walk-offs was the word of the day on Friday for baseball and now also for softball.
Yeah, I guess a little exciting ending there. And yeah, Q30's Patrick Walsh has the story on DeMott's Game 1 walk-off.
Kennedy DeMott drove in all 3 runs for the Quinnipiac softball team in their comeback win over Mount St. Mary's Friday. Here's what she had to say about her approach at the plate and what this win means for the team.
Our plan was to sit changeup and swing at that, so I did exactly that, and I just trust the plan. So just thinking about right now, and then now we can think about Sunday coming out playing them again. So the more wins, the better, and getting us up in that tournament.
Head coach Hillary Smith talked about the hard work DeMott puts in and it finally showing off against the Mountaineers.
I'm just so proud of her, for her to step up for us. She's just that type of kid we always know anyway. She's kind of the calm to our storm, so to see her go up and have the day that she did have today was no surprise. I'm just really proud of her because hard work wins.
DeMott also talked about how Sydney Horan's pitching performance helped the Bobcats stay in the game.
She's been my buddy this season. We're just going, honestly. I know I have her back, she has my back, so it doesn't really matter if there's a bad pitch or a bad call, like, we're just going.
Smith explained how Horan's outing was crucial in a low-scoring affair.
She's a dog. That girl's a dog, and what we're asking of her isn't easy. Like, she's been throwing a lot of innings, a lot of back-to-back, and she wants the ball, she's grinding it out, and that's what champions do, so I'm not surprised, but of course I'm proud of her too.
Horan talked about what it meant for DeMott to have contributed to the win.
I feel like she's someone I'm very, very close with on the team, especially being, my partner and my catcher. So, I knew she had my back going into it, and clearly she did. So I'm really happy for her.
The Bobcats will take on the Mountaineers again Sunday in a doubleheader with first pitch for Game 1 slated for noon. Reporting for Q30 Sports, I'm Patrick Walsh.
That wasn't all for the Bobcats on the weekend as they swept a doubleheader to close out the series on Sunday. The Bobcats took both games by a 4-3 score. Sydney Horan got the win in both games, starting the first one, pitching a complete game, and coming in for the final 2 innings in Game 2. She followed Jacqueline Gonzalez, who started and went 4 innings, then Taylor Walton, who went an inning of relief. DeMott had 4 hits in the 2 games, including 3 in the second game. DeMott also drove in 3 of the 4 runs in the final game. The series sweep puts the team at 8-5 in MAAC play and 5th in the standings as the season continues to roll on.
Now, as basketball guys, Brandon, we're going to have to take a full timeout and head to our first commercial break of the night. But when we do come back, we'll discuss men's and women's lacrosse as both teams are battling for playoff position.
We'll also be talking men's and women's tennis as both squads look to stay undefeated in conference play. Sports Halls will be back right after this.
Do you enjoy debating Quinnipiac sports?
That's all flash, no cash. She didn't net it in the back of the net. That's not even a goal.
What are you doing pulling out rhymes?
Brady, that's like a crossover with a missed layup.
Bobcat Breakdown is the place for you, with debate, analysis, and so much more.
Mate Marinov. He is good, but oh man, is he bad. And
that team is amazing. How do you not put fish on women's volley?
Tune in to Bobcat Breakdown every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. on Q30TV.com/watch.
See it coming. It's pre-diabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute pre-diabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Oh, right. Look at you taking the stairs. Who are you?
We're your lungs. We are proud of you for quitting smoking.
but you still may be at risk for lung cancer.
A routine cancer scan can detect it early when it's more curable.
Good to know. Well, I gotta go somewhere.
So do we.
So do we.
Listen to your lungs. Get a routine screening that could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing that keeps us focused. A habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game, to drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. Last Wednesday, the women's lacrosse team earned their second win in a row by defeating the Merrimack Warriors 18-6, marking their first win over the newly joined Warriors. Senior Ella Grace Delmont led the way with 7 goals on the day. This is her second straight game with 5+ goals. Her sister Mia Delmont was right behind her with 5 points on the day. First-year goalie Shannon Alden made 9 saves in the one. This marked the second consecutive game for the Bobcats, scoring 15 goals. Offense has been hot. Now, over the weekend, the team traveled up to Niagara looking to extend their winning streak. Now, the Bobcats looking for their 3rd straight win and first at Niagara on the season. Jumping into the first quarter, Quinnipiac found themselves down 3-1 early, and Niagara's Michaela Della shoots and puts it past Shannon Alden to extend the lead to 4-1 for Niagara to see the celebration there early on. Now, just before the end of the first, Ella Grace Delmont gets the Bobcats back within 2 with this shot. Now in the second quarter, Niagara now up 5-2. Here comes Avery Olszewski muscling through, and she scores for the Eagles. Once again, celebration 6-2 for Niagara. Now, the Bobcats score 2 and get back within 2. Great passing by Kate Bendowski and Mia Delmont. Delmont finds the back of the net. 3 straight goals for Quinnipiac gets them back within this one, but the half will end 7-5 Niagara after this shot by Maddie Gill. Now to the second half, Quinnipiac back within 1. Mia Delmont again. In this game is tied at 7. And after another goal from each team, Kate Bendowski scores and gives the Bobcats their first lead of the game, 9-8, before going to the 4th. Now here in the 4th, Abby Wise surrounded, but it's no problem for her as she extends the Bobcats lead to 3, 12-9, but don't worry, they'll be dramatic. Now it's time for a Niagara comeback as they are back within 1. Maddie Gill keeps up her outstanding game as she runs in and ties the game. It is 12-12 courtesy of number 12. Now it's a passing masterclass by the Bobcats until it gets to Abby Wise in front, who gives Quinnipiac the 13-12 lead with less than 4 minutes to go in the frame. But if you thought that was it, you're wrong. There's some late offensive pressure by Niagara, but Shannon Alden makes a kick save at the end. You're gonna see again right here. Leg out, last second, showing athleticism I could only dream of. Now, keeping that one out, Quinnipiac would hold on for the 13-12 lead. They get their first road win at Niagara in program history.
Yeah, and I want the record to show that for anyone who's seen Brandon play pickleball, absolutely athletic. I want to give him credit right there. Now, the men's lacrosse team traveled to Siena for their second-to-last regular season game, looking to snap a 4-game losing streak on Saturday, and that streak extended to 5. The 3-seed Saints defeated the Bobcats 17-7. 4 players had that hat tricks for Siena. Pratt Reynolds of Siena leads the league in goals per game at nearly 3.5. He's up to 37 on the entire season. Now, both men's and women's lacrosse teams are coming into the season's end, and both teams are within striking distance of a playoff berth, Brandon.
Yeah. Q30's Christina Semenez and Ava Heaton have the outlook on what each team's path to the playoffs is looking like.
Thanks, guys. First, we're going to take a look at the men's MAAC lacrosse standings. We have Canisius, Sacred Heart, and Siena in the top 3, and they've all clinched a berth in the playoffs.
Now, going down a little bit more, Marist, Manhattan, and then we get to Quinnipiac sitting at number 6. It's important to note that the top 6 teams will make the postseason.
Now, rounding out the bottom 3, we have Mount St. Mary's, Merrimack, and Iona.
Now, taking a look at number 6 Quinnipiac individually, Nate Watson and Justin Robert currently lead the team in goals with 20 and 19 respectively. And then you have Mason Oak with a .490 save percentage, and every game he is making saves well into the double digits. Yeah, it's just been really impressive.
He's been really impressive for the team so far. Quinnipiac's last game of the season is against Merrimack on Wednesday, who are currently the 8th seed.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge game, and whoever wins that game is going to be in a much better position to make the postseason. Quinnipiac sits at 2-5 in conference play, and Merrimack sits at 1-5, so definitely a huge decider there. And now as we take a look at the women's standings, Mount St. Mary's, Fairfield, and Iona are in the top 3 spots. Also, all have clinched the postseason.
Then we have Sacred Heart, Siena, Niagara, Quinnipiac, and Canisius. Quinnipiac currently sits in that 7th spot, and 8 teams make the playoffs in the women's bracket.
Now, once again, taking a look at Quinnipiac individually, the Delmonts have 37 goals each, which is tied for the team lead, and Shannon Alden has just been a contributing factor all year. She has a .500 save percentage, which is just incredible as a first year to come in and put up such impressive numbers.
Yeah, she's been so impressive so far this season. And it is really important to note that Quinnipiac is on a 3-game winning streak. They just beat Niagara up in New York 13-12, which it was only a 1-goal difference, but now they're really riding that hot streak going into their last 2 games.
Yeah, and those last 2 games will be against number 8 Canisius and number 10 Ryder. Some more crucial games as they look ahead to postseason play. Once again, only the top 8 teams will make the postseason. Well, that's all the time we have today. Back to you guys at the desk.
On Saturday, the men's and women's tennis teams took on Mount St. Mary's. The men's team won 5-2 in Maryland, taking down the Mountaineers. They got singles wins from Daniel Volk, Elias Hoxa, Michelle Prakat, and Alex Yang. In double, Quinnipiac took 2 of the 3 sets to take a doubles point for the team. The women's team also beat the Mountaineers, not allowing them to win any of the 5 sets. The team got singles wins from Will Renton, Caitlin Flower, Anaga Shankar, Vera Sekarina, Caroline Scholson, and Jordan Bradley.
Now on Sunday, both teams traveled down to the Merritt Parkway to take on the Sacred Heart Pioneers in Trumbull. Get out the broomsticks for the men's team. The Bobcats won all 7 points across singles and doubles, winning 7-0. The women's team won 6 of their 7 points yesterday, cruising to a dominant 6-1 win. Both teams are now 7-0 in MAAC play this entire year. Now after the big weekend wins for both programs, it's just success that you had against Sacred Heart for both teams, really winning that in-state rivalry. But both teams won the regular season championships, and it's a huge moment for the men's program, which won its first outright regular season championship in program history since joining the MAAC more than a decade ago. They won the MAAC championship last year as the number 2 seed.
Yeah, the women's team also clinched at least a share of the title, doing so for the 10th straight season. They can clinch it outright and grab the number 1 seed for a win at Fairfield next week. Quinnipiac lost to Fairfield in the title match last season, so we're going to be looking out for a little bit of revenge.
Yeah, revenge is always tasted sweet in victory. Now we'll step aside one more time for tonight, but the Masters may have wrapped up this week, but we have you all covered on what you need to know at Women's Golf MAAC Championships weekend here at Quinnipiac.
And it's about to be the best time of the night, the top 5 plays of the week. Plenty of plays to choose from this week, Connor. Don't move from your spot. Sports Paws will be right back.
I'll try not to.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Thanks for sticking with us on Sports Paws. The women's golf team is on their way down to Florida to compete in the MAAC championships on Disney property.
Yeah, let's tap it over to Q30's Anthony Rossi.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'm here at the Sleeping Giant Golf Course to talk about the women's golf team's pursuit for their 4th MAAC championship in program history. Last time out for the Bobcats saw them place 4th out of the 17 teams that took place in the Rucker Invitational on April 6th. The confirmed lineup when I talked to head coach John O'Connor is Sophia Fujita in the 1 slot, Samantha Galantini in the 2 slot, Fuji Zhang in the 3, Marissa Flores in the 4, Vonda Shaw in the 5, and Sandhya Vaikuntham in the 6 slot. 3 first years will represent the Bobcats at the MAAC championships, those being Flores, Fujita, and Shaw. They haven't had the best finishes this year and only 2 top 5 finishes all season. The most recent one is what I talked about earlier at the Rutgers Invitational. The 2 players to look out for in this tournament will be Samantha Galantini and Sophia Fujita, who have been having great seasons for the team. That's all I have here from Sleeping Giant Golf Course. Got a driver in hand, might as well take a swing before I leave. Back to you guys at the desk.
You know, Brandon, if Rossi keeps shooting that way, there might be some competition next year at the Masters.
I know Rory won, but he did miss a putt late. Might be getting old. It might be time for some newcomers.
Hey, the people are talking.
People are talking.
I'm just saying.
But on April 24th, the number 3 seeded Bobcats Acro team will be heading out west to South Dakota to take on the number 6 Iowa Gales in the NCATA tournament. The Bobcats won the previous matchup between the 2 teams 264.28 to 257.475. The Bobcats, who were 7-1 on the season, their only loss coming to Oregon earlier on, will look to avenge last season's semifinal loss to Gannon. The Bobcats are 2-0 all-time against the Gales, and the Bobcats will look to continue their streak going forward with their next meet in the playoffs. They will once again look to make history and continue their dominance over Iowa.
And the Quinnipiac women's ice hockey program introduced 2 incoming transfers for the 2025-26 hockey season. Callie Hogarth will be looking to go between the pipes next season for the Bobcats. The rising senior played in 49 career games and has a .904 save percentage in her first 3 years at Merrimack. Alex Law also comes into the program from Boston University. Law will be a junior next season, also coming from Canada. She appeared in 58 career games and had a total of 16 points for the Terriers. Fun fact, Brandon, she also played lacrosse for BU.
Dual sport athlete.
Gotta love them. All right, Brandon, I think it's time we finally say our goodbyes to Sports Paws.
Connor. We can't make the audience cry yet. We still got to show them the top 5 plays of the week, so let's get into it.
How could I forget?
Starting out at number 5, softball at Canisius. Kennedy DeMott keeps her offensive streak alive with a solo homer to tie the Golden Griffins. This game is marked incomplete.
Another home run, this time at the baseball diamond. Johnny Knox doesn't need a torpedo bat for this one, launching a 3-run homer to give the Bobcats the lead. You're going to see the replay right there. Bobcats ended up winning this one 8-4.
Play 3, women's lacrosse at Niagara. Shannon Alden with the boot kick secures the save for Quinnipiac.
Now, play number 2, it's going to be another homer. We have, it's a walk-off from Alex Irizarry. The walk-off RBI ended an 11-inning game. You see the reaction. Bobcats win 5-4.
Now play number 1, softball versus the Mount. She took play 5 spot and now the play 1 spot. Kennedy DeMott saddles the changeup and takes it deep to left field, ending the 9-inning game. We're going to see it again right here. Bobcats win 3-2 and sweep the Mount.
Yeah, DeMott taking two of the possible top 5 plays. Just an excellent weekend for her.
I think it's a pretty good weekend, you can say the least.
Exactly that. Now, in the fall of 2021, I stood in the back of Studio 125 after a Sports Paws show, listening to executive producers Kylesia Smith and Dylan Summer asking if the people who would want to go on desk the following week. I turned to somebody I didn't really even know at that point, and it turned out to be future sports director Ethan Logue, and asked him if I should do it. Half jokingly, I will admit. He said I totally should, and before I knew it, my hand was in the air and a crowd of people I didn't even know erupted in applause. I don't think many people know this, but I didn't even have an own suit in my dorm room to go on air the following week. Now, that Monday came, and I was reading off a teleprompter and swiveling back and forth in my chair because I was so nervous. I said it last week on the Q30 newscast, but I give so much to what I am now to Sports Paws as well. To give some sort of lesson, say yes to every opportunity. Push your own boundaries, get 1% better each and every day. You will never know your full potential until you take that leap of faith. To Sports Paws, thank you for everything.
I made my debut on this show last year. Over that time, I've gotten out of my comfort zone, beat reporting women's soccer, and making highlights and packages for Sports Paws, while also being an analyst as you see here tonight. I've gotten the opportunity to work and develop relationships with some of the best people I've ever met. I have no doubt I've made a big mistake waiting that long to get involved. 2 years was way too long. While this is not my official student media goodbye, it is unfortunately my Sports Paws goodbye. So to all the people from this show that I've been lucky enough to be able to meet and work with over the last 2 years, thank you for making Mondays so fun, and thank you for everything.
Now, that's unfortunately all the time we have tonight on Sports Paws. Brandon, it's been a hell of a one, hell of a ride.
Make sure to keep up with all Quinnipiac sports news on social media at Q30 Sports and at Q30 Television. Thank you to everyone working hard behind the scenes for making the show to life. For the last time on Mondays, I'm Brandon Murdoch.
And I'm Connor Core. Good night, Bobcats.